All right, y'all. We coming back at you. Diamond Divas mad as hell. We're gonna continue talking about the SDA Church Manual and gonna continue on with this because there are some things in the manual that's not being abided by some of these local churches. So I'm gonna start off with I'm on page 196 and it's titled "Caution in Disciplining Members." Should we try to uproot from the church those whom we suppose to be superior Christians? We should be sure to make mistakes. Wow. Often we regard as hopeless subjects the very ones whom Christ is drawing to himself. Now that's saying a lot right there, y'all. Where were we to deal with these souls according to our imperfect judgment? It would perhaps extinguish their last hope. And you know, the churches are supposed to be in a business of saving lives, bringing them into the church. They're not supposed to be about casting members out of the church.
Wow.
Who do they think they are? I don't know who they think they are, but let's continue.
Check your spirit.
That's right. Many will be in heaven who their neighbors suppose would never be there. Now, I've heard that a lot throughout my life, and that is true. Man judges from appearance, but God judges the heart. Now, that's something to remember when these church leaders or members of the church think they know somebody's heart. Are they searching themselves?
All right, now search your own
The
heart.
tares and the wheat are to grow together until the harvest, and the harvest is the end of the probationary time. Now, that probationary time ends when Jesus busts through them clouds, and it don't end before the end. So we got time to get it right, and it is not up to the church or the leaders to decide when somebody's time is up.
Well,
now, as the tares have their roots closely intertwined with those of the good grain, so false brethren in the church may be closely linked with true disciples. Wow. The real character of these pretending believers is not fully manifested. Were they to be separated from the church, others might be caused to stumble, but who for this world have remained steadfast. Now, this is a quotation straight from the church manual. Now, I know that some of these church leaders don't even read the church manual, don't even go by the church manual, because I've heard them say it out their own mouths. Well, this is food for thought. This is information that you need to read and to go by because it is biblical. It is Bible-based, which means this is important information, y'all.
Y'all know Ellen G. White, straight from her testimonies.
Christ object lessons.
Yes.
All right, ministers or churches not to establish church or fellowship. A minister, an individual church, or a conference, mission, or field does not have the authority to set up or establish tests of fellowship for their denomination. This authority rests with the entire church body and in the exercise through the regularly constituted organization of the church in the general conference. Anyone seeking to apply tests other than those herein set forth does not, therefore, properly represent the church. Rights of a member to be heard in defense. It is a fundamental principle of justice that every member has the right to be heard in his or her own defense and to introduce evidence and produce witnesses.
And that's the opportunity that we never got, to go before our church to talk about the sexual harassment complaint. We was prohibited to do that before our church, but they want us to go and talk about a threat.
But even in that, when they said talk about the threat, they don't want you to bring up any other information that is actually relevant to the reason the church said that we did a threat, or that we threatened them and said we would shoot them up. So you don't want the whole truth out there. You want partial truth out there, but you expect somebody to explain why somebody else is accusing them of wanting to shoot up the church. That is crazy. That's having it your way.
Man.
But you ain't gonna get it that way. Anyway, no church should vote to remove a member from church membership under circumstances that deprive the individual of this right if one chooses to exercise it. Due notice should be given by the church to the members of its intention to consider the problems, thus giving the opportunity for the individual to appear. Now, got a phone call 2 days before the fact, but it was to tell us about the allegation or the accusation, but did not say there was a proper or possibly a risk of dismembership. So it was the overlay for the underplay.
Well,
members are not to be removed or for pecuniary reasons. A member should never be removed from the church records on account of one's inability or failure to render financial help to any of the causes of the church.
That means if I can't pay tithes, I should not be chastised or fired from anything or challenged on anything. Ask the question and then still deal with me as a sister.
Church membership rests primarily on a spiritual basis. It is a duty of every member to support the work of the church in a financial way to the extent of one's ability.
Not to mention, we give our money to the church. You know how it says, bring ye tithes into the storehouse that my people may be fed. And that means the people of the church, not some organization. When your church is dying and literally falling apart, you're going to send your money to another organization before you build on your church, God's kingdom, God's house?
Right. But an individual should never be deprived of a membership simply through the individual inability or failure to render financial help to any of the causes of the church. Notification to a person being removed from membership. It is incumbent upon the church that removes members from the church membership to notify the individual in writing of the action that was reluctantly taken with the assurance of enduring spiritual interest and personal concern. This communication should, where possible, be delivered in person by the church pastor or by
the conference leader
or by a church board
in person
designee
knocking on my door, not on the telephone.
The erring member should be assured that the church will always hope that a re-affiliation will take place and that one day there will be eternal fellowship together in the kingdom of God.
Just to let you know, though, who wants to be a part of a church like that?
I don't. I'm going to tell you, if you don't dismember me, I'll dismember myself. That's all to it, because I don't want to be a part of any church or any organization that is not out there looking to build on the kingdom of God, but to tear it down. And when you ultimately don't follow your church rules, you don't follow the doctrines that's in the Bible, then you are not out there searching for people to come into the kingdom of God. You out there doing the work of the devil, and you are what? In sheep's clothing. You're a wolf in sheep clothing. That's what you is. You are a false prophet, and you are not doing the work of God. Even though you may be faking it and making other people believe that you are doing the work of God, there are so many people out there that are fooling people and pulling the wool over other people's eyes. And some people don't want to know the truth, but we putting the truth out there because it needs to be heard and it needs to be known what's going on in these churches behind closed doors, in business meetings, at the conference level, that's not being dealt with appropriately. So on that note,
note this too. We're not just talking about all churches. We're talking about the church that we go to. Just to let you know, there's some good churches out there, but